Okay, I decided to go out into the yard and pull out a few Mugo Pines. These are trees I picked up last spring. Look at the way these things bud out. Now, of course, a lot of that's got to be thinned out. I'll wait until they push out the shoots and then I'll start cutting the shoots out of it. You can see how well that tree has done. Now, I cut it back heavy late last summer. I remember now, these are called epicormic buds. But you see how we're getting all kinds of budding here. Right there, right through the old wood. This tree is probably not more than 5 years old. I haven't done anything styling-wise other than just cut some branches out of it to probably try to get the image more like a tree rather than a bush. But because of the way mugos grow, you get all of this growth all over the place. Because of that, the nursery trade has a tendency to treat them like hedges and bushes and stuff, and they don't look at them as trees so much. That's what's wrong with the Mugo pine. It's not that it's an inferior tree, it's the process that they use to grow them that's inferior. So anyway, that's what's going on with this tree. And there's quite a few of them. Look at this. See, sometimes too you get this kind of a situation with a bud. You get a bud that'll back bud on itself. A lot of them, like this one. This, if it's given its way, will extend up to about here, maybe farther. And then it'll bud out at the top again. The same with these guys and these. So it's a really vigorous tree. We've got a few more here. These trees are all pumilios. They were grown from seed stock from Europe. And this one is a little bit better as far as form-wise than the last one I showed you. You have to realize that when you grow things from seed, there's a lot of variability that comes into the issue. And sometimes you get trees that are better than others. These trees are going to be for sale. But you see, this is really pretty nice little tree here. This one's going to be a nice bonsai one day. Now, if I was smart, I'd sit in here and I'd cut out a bunch of these needles here so that we can just kind of open this up. But, you know, you already saw me do a lot of needle cutting. You really don't need to see me do more of it. Though I don't mind doing it. I get my hands on Mugo and I can't stop doing what I'm doing. This will be the last one. So anyway, that's not a bad tree. Now, if you were a real geek like I am, there's a temptation here to cut off a lot of this stuff here and regrow this tree from this point. I don't think I'll do that, but the option is there. That's one of the problems with Mugo. So because of the way they bud and back bud and things like that, they leave you with so many options. You get overwhelmed. You don't know what you're supposed to do. What can I do? What should I do? Well, if I do this, then it'll look like that. And it'll drive you nuts. Okay, there's two. Here's a third one, all from the same batch of trees. All what are called potted liners. I bought them from a professional grower out on the west part of the state. This one isn't quite as nice a tree, but there's nothing wrong with it. I can do stuff with it. The tree can be wired up. Now you see how bushy this one is. That other one was not quite so bushy. But still, you've got the same kind of things. You got all these new buds for them. Remember I told you another one, you had this kind of arrangement? This is what you get with that. You get this wide expanse with all kinds of long needles on it. And then it'll do this again. So that tree's going to have to be controlled that way. But this is the same variety of tree, probably from the same cone. And here is yet another. Notice how long the needles are on this one. Those can be dealt with. Have no fear. Long needles on a Mugo are not a problem. As you can see where I cut it back last fall, or late last summer, and these popped up instead. So it's an interesting tree to work with. But like I said, I just cut these back to expose its trunk and give the trunk a chance to fatten up. You expose that to light and it's going to start doing something. If you don't expose it to light, the branches are going to get fat, but the trunk won't. There's one more. Actually, there's two more. There's one more of the nursery grown ones, the liners. Here again, we're talking about the same situation. Now this one's pretty good because the trunk is proportionally so much larger than the rest of this tree. So you get to this point where, in traditional speaking, you have, you know, the first branch, the second branch, the back branch, the apex, and all of this cock-a-doodle-doo. But you get this, you cut out the center, which I did, and then all of this stuff grows up. Well, where do you go from here? Well, you can let some of it grow, but you got to be careful you don't let all of this grow too much, because then you get here what is called a knuckle. And you get a big swelling with all of these branches coming off of it, then you're left with having to deal with that mess. So sometime this year, a lot of this stuff, sometime before the middle of summer, a lot of this stuff has got to be removed. A lot of this little piddly-doo stuff will probably come off now, but see, this is the way you design these things. You see what's working and what's not working, and how the tree is growing and where it is not growing, and the things that you can do with it and the things you shouldn't do with it. All of these things add up, and some of them you see and some of them you don't. But you can see how vigorous it is on the ends. It's amazing how these trees can do this for you. And then, of course, it will only do this once a year. You'll get buds after you cut it back, let them elongate till the middle of summer, then we cut them back, and you'll get buds, but you won't get this happening. Very rarely will it pull or push a new second flush of growth. I've had it happen a couple of times, but it's not common. Okay, these trees are all grown from the same batch. They're all about the same age, and I'm going to show you something. This tree is from a different nursery. Now you can see this one is quite a bit older than those. This one's probably close to 10 years old. But you see, it's been in this pot for a long time, and there's a lot of things going on with this tree. Now, I like trees at this stage because there's so many options, and this tree I'm going to have fun doing some work on. But I bought about 7 of these guys this last summer, and I'm very pleased with how they look. I should be able to sell them for quite a bit of money. But you can see how the bark is. You can see how the trunk is. Yeah, this also needs water. Yeah, see, there you go. Hooray for the nurseries. But it's a nice tree. Okay, well, I think we'll call it quits for today. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one.